All right, guys, last lesson for this week. So, we're going to talk about Chinese goods. We don't have a whole lot of vocabulary to use today, so I feel like that's pretty good. So, we're just going to talk about civilizations real quick again, which is human society, a civilization, a group of people living together. A monopoly, which means that one person has total control. Someone has a monopoly over something, they have complete control over it. And I just want to review economy real quick. Economy is the wealth or the resources of an area. Okay, so let's get started on this bad boy. Chinese goods. What kinds of goods did Chinese merchants trade? China's economy depended heavily on the trade that took place along the Silk Road. Many goods, including tea, wool, furs, grapes, wine, spices, colored glass, ivory, gold, silver, and porcelain, were bought and sold along the Silk Road. However, the road derived or got its name from the silk Chinese merchants sold along the route. Silk may have been the most important good to the ancient Chinese economy. It was China's main export, or good that was sold to civilizations outside of China. Okay, so in this paragraph, all we're doing is talking about what types of things took place and were traded along the Silk Road. So all kinds of things: tea that you drink, wool, fur, grapes. Yum, I would like to eat some grapes. Wine, spices, colored glass, ivory, gold, silver, porcelain. They were all bought and sold along this Silk Road, okay? But the main thing, the most important thing for the ancient Chinese economy um, was silk, okay? Silk was China's main export, meaning that's the main thing that China took out and sold, okay? So China had all this silk. They used the Silk Road to take the silk to other areas and sell it. It was their main export or thing that was taken out of China. Next paragraph. The ancient Chinese had a monopoly on silk. A monopoly means that one source has control over a particular good. The Chinese did not share the method for making silk with other civilizations, so they were the only people able to create it. With their monopoly, the Chinese had complete control over the price and availability of silk, and it was a popular product in many other civilizations. Through the Silk Road trade routes, China was able to sell silk to Europeans, Persians, and other people in distant lands. Okay, so did other people, were they able to sell the silk? No, because China had a monopoly on it, which means they were the only people who had control over it, okay? The Chinese were the only people who knew the method for making the silk. They did not share it with any other society or any other people. So the Chinese were the only ones able to create it, okay? So because they had the monopoly or total control over silk, they could control how much it cost and how often they made it or how often it was available to other people. Okay, it was popular. Other societies wanted it, other civilizations. They were like, yeah, we want this silk. Okay, so through the silk trade routes, China was able to sell the silk to the Europeans, the Persians, and people in distant lands. Okay, so again, they didn't have to take it all the way down that trade route, but they would take it to one point and it would continue down. Okay, no one else sold silk. Chinese had the monopoly on it, meaning they were the only ones. Next paragraph. Silk was a great item to trade because it was expensive and lightweight. Merchants could carry a lot of it at one time. Merchants typically left China with rolls of raw silk. The raw silk then traveled to other cities where it was dyed, embroidered, and turned into clothing. Traders used camels as their main form of transportation. Camels could carry large loads on their backs and traverse both deserts and mountains without needing food or water for long periods of time. As merchants traveled, they were in constant contact with people from other countries. Okay, so silk was good to trade. Why was silk good to trade? Well, because it was expensive, so the Chinese were going to make a lot of money from it. And it was lightweight. And if something's lightweight, that would be a good thing to take along these trade routes because it's not heavy, so you can take a whole lot of it with you, okay? So, did they drive in cars? No, they didn't drive in cars, you guys. They went mainly on camels. And why were camels good for them on these trade routes? camels were good for them on these trade routes because the camels could go a long amount of time without needing food or water, and they could traverse. So traverse means they could go over, okay? So camels are really good in deserts. Horses, not good in deserts. Camels, good in deserts. Camels can get over mountains too. Okay, so the camels were able to go over the terrain or whatever type of land there was, and they didn't need food or water for long periods of time. Okay, and as these people, did they ever see anyone? They did. They saw other people, and they met lots of people from other cultures also. So they were exposed to other people, which is kind of a really nice thing. All right, you guys, that's it for the readings for the lessons this week. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me during my office hours. And I'll be seeing you guys soon. Bye.